Hello everybody, welcome back to the Ghost Ship Dispatch. It's finally time for the January edition of the Ghost Ship Games newsletter. So as always, thank you to Aaron for keeping that up. Looks like it's going to be a good one. I'm going to do things a little bit differently, but I'll explain once I actually start. First of all, I want to thank everyone for the performance of the most recent video. If anyone's seen it, you'll know it's a video that I spent quite a bit of time on. And especially if you were anyone who is a fan of the Overclock Showcase series, you especially know that I took a lot of time to do that because it was an actual effort of time and recording and research and editing and even a little bit of writing, all these things, and it coalesced into something that is just seemingly doing very well. So thanks for all that. Either way, it's time to see what we've got for January in terms of sort of a Feastables, or rather, no, that's right. I was thinking of the stream schedule actually, because of course the February stream schedule is in here, and for some reason I was thinking of it as the February newsletter. Of course it's not, it is the January newsletter. Anyway, let's get into it, but first of all I want to say things like I'm not going to be reading it like verbatim. I will still be reading sections verbatim, but I'm going to omit more stuff. Like, for example, as lovely as Aaron's little introduction is, we don't need it. We don't need to say snakes, guns and playtest. Well, actually that part's fine, but this actual sort of hello miners section, it is sort of lost in this video format, I think. I think there's more to see. I think there's more so for the other people who are actually going to go and read this because they've signed up for it, other than, not so much the people who are watching this video. Same goes for the Lunar Festival, which is now live. As always, there'll be a link to everything that's relevant in the description of the video, but I'm not going to go through stuff about the Lunar Festival. That's been in its own video, and it always will be, so I won't sort of talk about the event that the newsletter is referring to, because there's a 100% chance I've already talked about it. So we get into the first section, which is around the office, which is a fairly loose section, but it's a little bit of insight into where Ghost Ship are at. Not necessarily on the games development front, but sort of on kind of the other front. So let's get into around the office. Sound guy Joaquim went out to a field to record his friend shooting a bolt-action rifle to get some real-deal gun noises to use for sound effects. We actually had the opportunity to do something similar with an M72 Law launcher a few months back, but it was way too rainy that day. Also, they had the opportunity to capture the sound of a rocket launcher, but they actually couldn't use it. Okay. And Joaquim is, or Joachim, I think it's actually Joachim, this name. He is also the voice of all the dwarves, so that's to Joachim, you're a legend. Last week, a shipping pallet arrived at the office loaded with 1,200 bags of custom potato chips. They're ghost chips, get it? Like Ghost Ship. But with chips, pretty good. We're giving them away next month at Copenhagen Gaming Week. If you're coming, swing by a booth to say hi and get some chips. That is the best reason for us to go to Copenhagen. But we won't be there. We enjoyed a rare sighting this month. The sun. I guess they don't get it in Denmark. That big hot orb broke through the eternal grey of Danish January, and we were so delighted that we ate lunch outside, despite it being 4 degrees Celsius. Got to get that vitamin D while you can. And that tells you how crazy these people are. Up there in sort of the more northern parts of Europe, they do not get much sun at all, even when it's daylight hours. And yet they are some of the happiest people there is. And do you know why that is? That's because their governments are actually pretty damn efficient and care about their people. Okay, if that brought the video down, I do apologise, but I don't care. Pretty much everything's political nowadays. Rogue Core, full focus on a visual overhaul. I mean, it's a new weapon, so I'm not sure where visual overhaul really comes in. Either way, apparently this is the hammer, which it looks amazing. Before we get started, I do believe this is either... I don't think it's a shotgun. I think this is the bolter weapon that they were talking about in one of the previous newsletters, actually. This month, we've sent Rogue Call to the beauty salon. The team's big focus has been the game's art and visuals. Up until this point, we've been focusing more on how the game plays, getting stuff to run smoothly and not crash, and also figuring out a gameplay loop, upgrading progression systems that's proper fun. Throughout all this, we've been using a lot of placeholder assets from Deep Rock Galactic, so now it's time to swap these placeholders out with the original Rogue Core assets. Or with original Rogue Core assets. Essentially, we're focusing on how to give this game its own distinct visual identity. The visual overhaul includes everything from the game's UI button, the little sounds that play when you click about in the settings, particle effects on enemies, death animations and ragdolls, and of course equipment, gear, and the reclaimers themselves. Hopefully I'll be able to share more on the reclaimers in a couple of months. In the meantime, check out some concept art for a new gun we're working on. For now, it's called the Hammercaster. It shoots big, chunky bullets. So yeah, definitely a bolter type weapon, but probably is quite good at close. It's the kind of thing that's always good at every range. Bolters, I feel like. On top of this, We're also playtesting the game constantly and having lots of good-spirited arguments about which features we should keep and which should get scrapped. I think it's headed in a good direction, and I can tell the team is feeling more excited and confident about everything, which is good to hear. And I want to talk about visual identity briefly, because this is all about like them making sure that the game really shares no technical visual similarities with Deep Rock. I don't know how far this is going to go. I don't know if it's going to come down to even like the biome textures, because we know that most of all the biomes from Deep Rock are carrying over, but there will still be sort of new additions, especially in terms of how like they eventually turn into the core biome as you go further down. But I don't know if they're going to be completely swapped out. But apart from the biomes, I think it's pretty clear there isn't going to really technically be any shared assets. They're all going to be changed in some way, and most of what we see in Rocal will be completely new things. So I think for anyone worried, especially from the trailer, where they were upfront about the fact that it was all placeholder. But if anyone's worried, the game is going to look, I think it's going to look a lot more different from Deep Rock than you're expecting. It's still going to look like a new Deep Rock thing, and I think that's also extremely important, but it's also going to look and feel like a new thing at the same time. A new Deep Rock thing. It's not going to just be more Deep Rock, it's going to be new Deep Rock. Okay, so I think that's fair to look forward to. Fun fact, we mostly picked the name Ghost Ship Games because it sounds cool. I mean, that's literally the only reason. I don't actually think there's a better reason to name anything. You can get inspiration from certain things and sort of, that have sort of meaning to you, but I think it's always about sounding cool. Anyway, back when Ghost Ship Games was first getting started, the 6 founders spent weeks discussing dozens of potential names. As picking a name always goes, the process was prone to overthinking. For all the hubbub, Ghost Ship Games provided one of the few names everyone could kind of agree on. Folks liked that it wasn't super abstract and made you think of a physical place. That is actually a really good concept. One day, it came to sign some initial pieces of business paperwork, and founder Mikkel still didn't have a consensus on which name to go with. He just wrote Ghost Ship Games on the paperwork, putting it into the selection process, which I think is the ultimate way to decide on a name. You're put in the position you have to do it, and you just write what comes to your head from options that you've already discussed. The runner-up name was Weird Ankle Games. Can you imagine? Close call. Honestly, if they were called Weird Ankle Games, I don't think we'd be here today. Anyway, we've got an update on the Abyss Bar beer mugs free starter Kickstarter. Now microwave safe. I've got news from our friends at Scorched Steel Industries. As you might have heard, they're producing a collection of official Abyss Bar mugs. Abyss Bar beer. I think I'm becoming dyslexic, which is going live soon via Kickstarter. And now, thanks to your feedback, the mugs are better than ever. The new design is now microwave safe and more impact resistant, so now you can heat it up super hot and use it as a melee weapon. But our legal department recommends you just use it for beverages. So there you go. And of course, there'll be a link to the Kickstarter in the description below as well. And now we get to the Guntouchables playtest, which I have technically covered, but I don't think it's going to take too long. So let's quickly go over that. Like I mentioned in last week's special edition email, the Guntouchables closed alpha is here. It's coming out via Ghost Ship Publishing, and I, a non-biased source, like it a lot. It's good, fast-paced, cartoony shooter action, solid co-op, nice notes of Left 4 Dead and roguelike flavour. If you want to give the game a go, it's not too late to get into the closed alpha. Just head over to the Guntouchables Steam page and click the Request Access button. Get a few pounds to join you too. The playtest runs until Monday, February 10th, so quite short. Anyway, so something about the link being busted, so there should be hopefully be a working link in this video description as well, so feel free to check that out. I think I might end up doing that, I'm not too sure. I'm trying to just worry about whether my laptop can really, it's worth even trying with it. I do plan on getting a PC this year, so we'll see. Fan art of the month, so part 4 of the fan-made Hoxxes short film. Okay, so this is something like a part 4 of something that someone's been making, but this is like, I don't think the previous parts have been featured, but either way. So it's a shot-for-shot remake of the Starties, and I'm just going to play a little snippet here, but there, of course, will be a link in the description where you should go and check it out yourself in full. Sorry. So yeah, go check that out if you're interested. Seems really cool. They always are. So yeah. Anyway, now the dev stream calendar for February 2025. Another thing where this is definitely not going to be a verbatim thing. I'm kind of just going to go over each part quite briefly. I don't know why I can't actually click on it, so I guess I'm going to have to open it in a new tab. That's Python. Ignore that. Anyway, so here is the dev stream calendar for February. The first stream. So these are always on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm not going to bother with the dates or even the weeks. You can just sort of picture these as it goes along, and the numbers are on screen. So anyway, first stream will be Trophy Hunter in DOG. The gang attempts to earn one of the rarest achievements in the game, which is Carpool, the one that I still don't have. Next stream is Deep Rocking with the Community, which is basically just say play DOG, but they should have a slot for a community member. Next stream, which is actually on Friday the 7th, so it's immediately after the previous one, so that's 3 streams in 1 week. DOG with Casper Van Dien, who is known for playing Johnny Rico in Starship Troopers. So he's an actor. He's the actor from Starship Troopers. That's actually really cool. There's also, in week 7, Tuesday stream is Heroes of Hammer Watch 2. We bravely conduct 2 hours of research by playing the new roguelike action RPG Heroes of Hammer Watch 2. Maybe learn a thing or two for rogue core. Or not. Either way, it'd be fun. Week 7, Thursday, stream today, will be at Copenhagen Gaming Week, as we know. Anyway, week 8, Tuesday stream, Rogue Core Q&A, which is a standard DOG gameplay stream, except they will set aside time for focusing on Rogue Core questions, and hopefully having someone from the Rogue Core team as well, one of the senior, I think it's usually one of the game designers or directors. So it could be Mikkel, it could be Mike, it could be Robert, it could be someone a bit lower down. It was pretty cool last time, and they might show some extra stuff off there as well. Week 8, Thursday stream is DLG Return of the Goop Troop. I think they just play with the sludge pump, basically. Week 9, Tuesday stream is Guntouchables with Game Swing. So that's actually after the playtest for Guntouchables is closed, but they'll be playing it with the devs of the game, so that's pretty cool. And then week 9, Thursday stream, Ghost Ship Games anniversary stream, which is of course the most important one. Ghost Ship Games birthday, tune in for our annual celebratory stream with special guests and fun surprises. So that is the most important one. There is always something juicy going on there. It always has a bit more of a fun tone. It's not just about delivering information, but it's always some kind of reveal or sort of update on how things are going. I'm sure we'll see some vocal stuff there as well, so keep an eye out for that. We're almost definitely going to live stream the live stream. Either way, that is all there is to it for the January Ghost Ship Dispatch. So as he says, that's a wrap, and we'll see you next month. So thank you, Aaron, as always. That was a really good one, especially with the hammer. What was it called? I forgot what it's called. The gun. The Hammercaster, which is just clearly just some kind of big like bolter rifle, which is, you know, awesome. It's a great type of weapon. The kind of thing we'd love to see in DLG. You know, maybe that can be a gunner primary at some point, you know, in season 7. Anyway, that's all for today, or actually not exactly. If you're watching this on the day this comes out, we should be live streaming right now, I think, so feel free to tune in to that. But as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this or found it useful, please make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want to stay up with everything to do with Deep Rock and Rogue Core, then also click the bell, and I'll see you soon.